WWE just announced a new United States Women's Championship. Okay now, I already love this design, but the white strap looks so good on that thing. Also on greatness of wrestling, WWE released a few talent, Rhea Ripley's injury, and WWE Going 3 hours. People, welcome back to the channel. Make sure to like, subscribe if you already didn't. I want to start this video by talking about the WWE United States Women's Championship. So on SmackDown, Nick Aldis announced a new title and talked about how more women are going to get that opportunity. So you better work harder because there's another title. This is one of these things in wrestling that a lot of people are going to have very mixed reactions, and I'll tell you why it's a good thing. I saw this championship and I immediately thought about talent like Chelsea Green. Let's be real now, she's not gonna win the WWE Women's Championship right now, but she's like a perfect candidate for the WWE United States Championship. Now what this basically tells me is that we might get an Intercontinental Championship too, because to me the idea of giving the women the Midcard Championship and calling it the United States Championship seems a bit off. You would expect it to be the Intercontinental title, so I think we're getting both. Now the question is, are we having too many titles? I would have done it a little bit differently. I would have introduced one WWE Women's Midcard Championship to test it out, see if it works. We wrestling fans keep talking about how the more championships we have, the less the other titles feel prestigious, and there's definitely truth to that. Now to counter it, at the end of the day, we also have way more talent than we had before. And obviously, since women's wrestling is just as good as men's wrestling, we're seeing a lot of women's matches on SmackDown, let's say. A lot of side stories, and now they have something to fight for. Another name that really comes to my mind is Naomi. Maybe she should be the first ever United States champion. It's also crazy that this is exactly the championship we actually expected when they announced the Crown Jewel Championship, but I guess we had an idea it's not gonna be that big. It does seem like WWE had this planned. Obviously, we talked about this so much for the past few months about WWE introducing midcard championships, and lately we're seeing a lot of talent like Michin, Chelsea Green, Candice LeRae, a lot of women's talent who are currently in the midcard being showcased, so it only makes sense. Now, I hope it's going to be a tournament. The idea of people actually fighting multiple times, trying to earn that opportunity and finally winning that championship, that feels more important to me than, let's say, a fatal four-way. Gotta work for that thing. Look how beautiful this looks. By the way, the design is beautiful, like I've said. The only difference is a white strap and it says women's, right? Like most people, I'm brainwashed by the WWE. You know, I look at this championship and it's a men's title to me, which makes no sense. I shouldn't feel that way. I guess I'm still hurt by the Divas era. Don't get me wrong, by the way, I'm happy it looks the same. I love it. But people, let me know in the comments below, do you feel like it was a great idea to introduce women's championships in the WWE? Do you expect the Intercontinental Championship, which by the way is gonna look beautiful, with a white strap? Come on. It's gonna look like the OG IC title. So let me know in the comments below. Do we need another one? You probably heard by now WWE released several talent including Baron Corbin, Indy Hartwell, and Tegan Nox. That obviously always sucks, because you gotta look at these people as real people and not just talent. 3 people just lost their job. What I find so weird about this situation is that Indy was actually featured on SmackDown so recently. She was kind of a part of this Nia Jax and Candice LeRae storyline. So that really caught me off guard. Tegan Nox, also Triple H's girl, right? And she also had a very different look. It definitely could have worked, but unfortunately she just never got over. But again, it's professional wrestling and it's a lot of times not the talent's issue, right? WWE just never really gave her anything to work with. We just talked about WWE introducing midcard championships. These 2 talent could have been absolutely amazing for that division. And if we're getting an Intercontinental Championship, Women's IC Championship, I don't get it. Obviously, the one that hurts the most is Baron Corbin, because at the end of the day, like, he came into the WWE in like 2016, right? Like, I was a teenager back then. So I kind of grew up watching Baron Corbin and I appreciated his work. He was one of the most reliable dudes on the roster. You can give him anything, he's gonna try to make it work. And I think we can all agree the bum-ass Corbin gimmick was just priceless and the run was way too short. It's crazy, man. He just had a great run in NXT and we were like, okay, Baron Corbin is back, and it just didn't work out. So that really sucks. One of the most reliable people on the roster, and Baron Corbin is someone I don't really see right now in AEW, but I feel like he's gonna end up being in TNA and he's gonna be one of the top talent. I don't know. That's just the feeling I get. People we all know, Rhea Ripley got injured and now it's a part of his storyline. Pro Wrestling Insider says people in WWE are hopeful that Rhea Ripley's injury isn't as bad as originally believed, but there's still no timeline for her return. WWE has a big role planned for her at WrestleMania 41 if she is back in time for the event. So, look, that's great news, by the way. I'm just over Liv versus Rhea. It was one of the best storylines at the time, but now GMO is saying, wrap it up, please. Again, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Raquel Rodriguez, it's ruining it for me. It's not that I don't like her as a talent. Ever since WWE introduced her into the Judgment Day, it just became so stale to me. And the biggest question to me after reading this is, are we really seeing Liv Morgan as a world champion right now until WrestleMania with a bunch of filler storylines and then Rhea Ripley returns, wins the championship at WrestleMania? Is it really gonna be that? Do we really wanna drag this for such a long time? I hope not. So WWE is 2 hours now, Raw is 2 hours, SmackDown is 2 hours, but Insider also mentioned that WWE's current plan is for both Raw and SmackDown to expand to 3 hours starting in January 2025. Some NXT wrestlers may be added to the main roster at that time. Look, I know half the people love the 2 hour format, half the people hate it. I love the 2 hour format. Especially after recent episodes of Monday Night Raw, I love the flow of the show. I hate so many backstage segments. A lot of it is filler, irrelevant. And like I've said, people are saying, oh my god, now less people are gonna get used. Good. That's also a good thing. You don't need to see the same talent every single week. Now we get overexposure. At the end of the day, as a viewer, what I mostly care about, and you should too probably, is the quality of the show. A lot of people complain when a movie is too long. It's a wrestling show that happens every single week. It's not supposed to be 3 hours long if it's not a premium live event. Now, can they make it work? Absolutely. You know, if it's a good show, it's a good show. But by the end of it, by the time we get the main event, we're just kind of tired. We want this thing to just end, which sucks. But that's most likely gonna be the plan. I mean, SmackDown is on USA Network. Raw was 3 hours on USA Network for like a decade or more at this point. Raw is gonna be on Netflix. What I would do, since it's not on cable, it's not on television, you can switch it up. If the show needs to be 3 hours, make it 3 hours. If it doesn't need to be that long, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put in all this irrelevant filler. Just go with the flow. If the show needs it, it needs it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's all I got for you today on Greatness of Wrestling. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, I'll see you on SmackDown. The Great One, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.